And good morning, everybody. It is Fabulous Friday featuring Désirée Eckert. Now, Désirée, you are absolutely a wonderful human being. All right. Let me just say that. Your light shines bright. I met you at HypnoThoughts Live a couple of years ago, and everybody adores you. You are unique. We all are unique. However, you do have your extra special flavor. So tell us about you. Tell us about you, Désirée.
I'm Désirée. I'm from New York. I used to be a formerly extremely shy person. That's actually something that's kind of interesting about me that a lot of people who know me now have a hard time believing, but like painfully shy. So it's just interesting during the pandemic years and doing a lot of self-hypnosis and being more visible online and having to get new clients in that way. It just really changed me on such a deep level that now I can like speak in front of large rooms of people. And it's so exciting to, so yeah, I don't know. That's just an interesting thing about me.
Because you wouldn't believe it. I saw your presentation last year at HypnoThoughts Live, and it was phenomenal. And you're so right. It was about clothing, stepping into our clothes. Yeah. So and share with people a little bit about that, because I totally agree.
Yeah, well, I used to be a costume designer and a theatrical costume designer and a tailor and fashion celebrity tailor, and so that's my background. I was always crafting things and making things, but I was always in a background role, and I think that was after doing that for 20 years, you're literally trained to stand behind people or stand in the shadows of great people and, differentiate yourself from the talent that you're working with. And it was an interesting thing for me in hindsight after retiring from that profession and doing a lot of self-hypnosis and doing hypnosis for several years to look and see what was perpetuating that hidden person, me wanting to hide, was a lot of what I was wearing. And in theater and in showbiz, if you're backstage, you have to wear black and you're meant to be hidden. So I just really am interested in that, and there's a whole area. That was the talk I think you attended last year, was about enclothed cognition. And yeah, it's just interesting, the symbology of what we're wearing and what that says about us, whether we realize it or not, so I was stuck in wearing all black for 20 years of my life and feeling stuck in where I was in life too. And when I realized that, I could start changing it and then leaning into other aspects of myself.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then I know as well that you are you've got a workshop on at HypnoThoughts Live. You're doing the cord cutting.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. Tell us why that is significant for people, because there's people from all over the world be watching this. So what does it do? What do they mean, cord cutting?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people know what this means on some intuitive level, even if they don't really understand what it means logically, because it's kind of, to me, I think based on that universal human primordial metaphor almost of the cutting of the umbilical cord. That is how each of us come into our own in this life, in this world. We're no longer reliant physically on, our mother. So I think that just really speaks to people, because we all understand when we are, we say things like, I'm being held back, or I'm feeling stuck, or tied up in knots. I'm always listening to people for the things that they say that represent that they're tethered to something, they're being held back. So cord cutting is just something that can be used for, I've discovered, anything, a habit like smoking. This year, since I'm teaching it at HypnoThoughts Live in July, I dedicated this whole year to just doing cord cutting. So if somebody wants to stop smoking with me this year, we're just doing cord cutting. And I'm just really just seeing the extent to which we can use it. And it's fascinating. And I got into it because I did have a stalker. That's what got me into hypnosis. And before I was a hypnotist, I was into energy work, and I've always been into mystical things. So I've always had an awareness of cord cutting. But when I had this stalker in my life, I just saw the importance of cord cutting and constantly cutting cords and the energetic ties with this person. But as I started studying hypnosis, I was kind of there's so much more here, than just the mystical, ethereal energy cords, whatever that is. These are metaphors for neurons, neural pathways, our habits, our, automated reactions to just the sight of a person, or the sight of just a feeling or the thought in your head of this person or thing. So in cutting the cords, we're just creating this mental alchemy in our brain and nervous system that typically, in one session, I've noticed, is permanent, not like the energy cord cutting that I was doing, which required a lot of maintenance. I think when we add in the power of hypnosis, which is any hypnotist already knows, just amplifies everything you already do. It just makes it so powerful. So yeah.
Yeah. I learned some of it from Beryl Coma, and it's like we wish the person well, and we'll take our energy back, please. So if there's a relationship, but there's so many different other aspects to it, which is why you're training it.
Yeah.
It's no, I love it. I love it. So is it a 1 day or is it 2 days?
It's 2 days.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then because everybody's going to be practicing it and doing it with each other.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about, because I also train hypnotists, and I've only really been doing online trainings for the last few years. So I'm just really excited about that in-person practice, which I think is so important, that, a lot of hypnotists who've learned online since the pandemic haven't had that like in-person practice. And that's how you start embodying the intuition and reading, learning unconsciously the body language. Like when somebody, we all know that to some extent, but unless we're starting to like attune to it, we have to do that in person, so.
I agree, because actually there's the nuances. It's the flushing. It's that you can't see, or if somebody's tapping their leg, or underneath the table if they're like picking.
Totally. That's one of the things that I'm like, it's so missing. Like, I didn't realize it until a couple years into the pandemic. Like, if I didn't have that background, like, I feel like I can still pick up on some things, but like my students only have what's in this screen, and there's so much you can learn by like an ankle relaxing, or like, the hands, like seeing the hands and seeing the ankles, things like that, or the hips, just kind of like let go. We kind of know a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And it's, as you say, it's the facial color. It's you can just hear the extra little sighs or where they might be looking. And yeah. It is very, very different. So I love that. I love that. So, I mean, what's next for you as well? I mean, I know you've got the cord cutting, but what's next?
I got a lot going on. I am writing a book. I got a literary agent about a year ago, and we're still working on the proposal and just making it perfect, and just bringing hypnosis to the masses, to the people. Like, I really just believe everybody needs this tool. They can do it themselves. Like, every human has a right to hypnotic knowledge. So that's one of the biggest things. I just want people to realize it doesn't have to take a long time. You don't have to relax or be in a deep trance or have this incredible ability to laser focus. No, like, you can do it. You're already doing it. And like, especially, a lot of my clients are younger. My students are younger. They, grew up having a screen in their face. And so they have different ways of working with their attention that maybe like, I don't have those kind of factors, because I, was an analog person and still strive to be. But for people whose normal life experience includes this kind of interaction with screens, their ability to focus is a little bit different, or their beliefs about that too. So I think we have to meet our clients where we are. So that's my goal for the book. And for I have a membership that's the book is based on, which is a microdosing, hypnotic microdosing dispensary, as I like to call it. So it's just these little hypnotic, hits that you can take 10 minutes or less, hundreds of tracks in the archive, so that you can, fit hypnosis into your life. Even if you're like super busy, a mom working from home, and you have 10 minutes in the bathroom, that's just your time. You can do that, like, I just think everyone should have it. Use it in the car on the lunch break. You don't have to drastically alter your state to attain the benefits. That's my big thing.
Well, you don't. I mean, it's so true. And people, I wish more people would realize that everybody has the ability to use hypnosis. I think it's the word.
Yeah.
It's like people suddenly associate it with something else. Yet, as soon as I say, well, do you, when you played sport, there's a lot of people where I am, they played sport. They may have played lacrosse. They may have played soccer, basketball, football. But they have to get into space. They have to get into the zone. They're not going, hey, mum, hey, because the moment they do that, they get hit on the head with a ball.
Yeah.
So you're focused. That's sort of like a sport hypnosis. You're in the zone.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So you have the ability. It's just that time when you're just like daydreaming, if you like.
Right.
about encouraging people to play a good movie through their head, seeing themselves doing what they want to do, and looking the way they want to look, feeling the way they want to feel, doing all the things they want to do, instead of running the negative movie.
That's right.
They also can be hypnotizing themselves with.
Yeah, you know, and with that sports metaphor, like, because I think about that a lot because I've been taking these like group fitness classes, and when you're in a room with a bunch of other people, like the mirror neurons, you know, you are like, that can destroy your focus and your like, you know, so your performance. So I noticed that when I'm in those classes, like when somebody else kind of gives up and stops or takes a break, that's almost like giving me unconscious permission to do the same. So I find myself stopping, but then I have to like retrain myself. No, get back in the zone. You're only like, as my hypnotist mind is like, I know why I did that because I saw them do it. And now that's making me think I can take a break. But it's like, no, I don't want to. I don't need to. I was just kind of mirroring them. And it's just so funny when that happens. So like, I always think of that, like that kind of sports metaphor. Like I have to be in the zone. I have to like be tunnel vision, like ignore everyone else and make my own kind of like remind myself why I'm doing this and why it's important.
That's right. And then it's being present.
Yes, exactly.
So it's, and it's, you know, people think, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. It's because we all know that nobody could do anything straight away. You know, when we were little, we had to learn how to crawl. We had to learn how to do all this, and we got encouraged. So it's the same principle. You know, we had to learn how to swim. It was like kick, 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 keep kicking your legs. Yeah. You know, it's like ride a bicycle. If we didn't do it immediately, same with going into self-hypnosis or meditation. So it just takes time, and it's the beauty of coming back to that present moment.
Yeah. And hypnosis it's learning. So yeah, you're learning to learn kind of when you start practicing and engaging with it. I love that. And also like a lot of learning is unconscious or subconscious. Like it's not consciously like, you know, so yeah, just like releasing expectations, being present and just like letting it happen too, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I love. You saying it's about the learning. It's like an osmosis, and that's when we go to these conferences, because we're with the energy like that in the hotels, and you're with wonderful people who are all smiling and giving and gracious and kind, and it's just like it literally is absorbed, isn't it, into our very being, and we're like all shining bright, and I love that, you know. And there's some you know, there's lots of people giving, you know, they're giving what they know to share, so that we can all give back.
It's an incredible environment. I just love conferences for that reason, because I always come back like remembering why I'm doing this and re-inspired and just like, you know, wanting to do things in a different way, which is exciting and keeps me kind of interested in everything. So yeah, I think they're so important for that.
And there's something for everybody, you know. We're not in competition with each other, because you have your people who are drawn to you, people are drawn to me, somebody's drawn to somebody else. And that is absolutely wonderful. It's just all good.
Absolutely. That's one of the things also that like the conferences taught me. It's like we're all kind of like artists using the medium of hypnosis, but we all have our own style of art. Like I'm not going to buy an impressionistic painting, but somebody else will, you know? So it's like we're like hypnotic artists. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like, so I might concentrate on with children, with teens, or the children inside of us, and you might. So, what is there an area that you specialize in? Who do you mostly like to see?
Yeah. This year I am doing only hypnotic cord cutting, like I said, in advance of my my training this summer. So I've been throwing that at everything. But yeah, people who just want to be free of something. But I don't have that's my most niche-y I've ever gotten. I like working with mystical people. I do think like witches. As a teacher, a trainer of hypnosis, I think like witches, astrologers, tarot readers, people who are already guiding people, I think they need to know hypnosis, because after I became a hypnotist, I was like, I couldn't get a tarot reading anymore without being like, wait a minute, where's the future pacing? Where are the resources? Like, how are the, you know, like I felt very limited by astrology and tarot and things like that after learning hypnosis. So I just think it's such an important, when you're already guiding people, just know a few hypnotic principles, because you can, like I said, we can amplify like anything with hypnosis. I think it's just like a great amplifier. It can overlay it on everything you're doing,
Absolutely. So I was an aromatherapist, well, I still am, but I don't do it anymore. I prefer the massages to be done on me, of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was good. It was like all around the cranium, and I did the face, and because aromatherapy is a specific massage. And so when I was in England, I started doing hypno aromatherapy and hypno Reiki. So I would use the hypnosis within the sessions, and it was phenomenal. Because say I'd already seen the person for their hypnosis, their hypnotherapy, their change work. And then they wanted, because I was like, well, what's next? Well, you can come in for a top up once every a month or every 6 weeks or whatever you choose. And they would have the aromatherapy massage. And then, of course, I would know what they were working on, or I would just do a quick check-in, and I could, because I know my stuff, and I was massaging. I'd known the massage for ages, so they just got whatever came out of my mouth, really. Yeah. So I never used, scripts then. It was just they got what they got, and it was phenomenal. So for people who are masseurs,
yeah, and that's what I didn't know you did Reiki too. So I also do Reiki. My hypnosis name is DESMERIZED. My Reiki was Désirée. I'm such a nerd, but I love a good, but I didn't know that about you. That's so cool. And that's the other thing, is that I think, like, I do work. I have several students who are estheticians or massage therapists, and I just, like, they and Reiki practitioners already know body language unconsciously a little bit. Like they're so in tune with their clients that I think, like having some hypnotic knowledge is so, it just like adds so much to it, even if you're not necessarily doing hypnosis. And when I first started doing hypnosis too, I was doing Akashic Records readings. I was working in the Akashic Records and doing Reiki. And I was expecting that I was like going to combine the two. I was going to do like Akashic hypnosis. And I did start doing that. But actually one of the things that I saw was really cool is that hypnosis allows our clients to go there anyway, where they have access to more. And they were doing that. So I didn't even need to do a reading necessarily. I could just like help them get to the place where they could get their own answers. And that actually is, I am doing that at HypnoThoughts this year. On the last day of the conference, I'm giving a 2-hour talk and experience in the Akashic Records called the Akashic Experience, because I would think like hypnotists need to realize their clients are going there. And this can be, as much as I love evidence-based hypnosis, and that is what I teach for spiritual people, like I just love the mystical, it's part of it, and the more we understand like the evidence-based stuff and the framework that really holds up a session and the change work that's happening in the brain and the nervous system, the more we know that and understand it, then there's all this like space to fill in with the really beautiful mystical stuff and that's for me, like what I've seen with my clients and with the hypnotic cord cutting. I see that it's that mystical spiritual experience that creates that indelible impression that like lasts forever and just changes them,
Yeah. No, I agree. And I hope we're not speaking at the same time, because I'm speaking on the last day as well. And I've got a 2-hour talk.
Oh, no, wait, when is yours? I'm in the evening.
I'm straight after lunch. So maybe we're not. I'm doing a talk on it's a 2-hour talk. It's like my first session. It's a first interactive session with a client, because so many people, they get trained and then it's like, well, now what?
Yeah.
What do I do? How do I engage?
That's great. That's an awesome.
So it's like literally how I work. So it's so I'm looking forward to that.
That's very needed. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Akashic Records as well. That'll be so cool. Yeah. Because it's fascinating, and it's and I think when I do past life regressions, I don't use the Akashic Records, but I take them to a library and they choose a book, and it's their book, and they will feel it coming towards them. Yeah. And then they step into the book, and what do they see? Again, I think we must work in a similar way, is that I don't tell people what to do, that I guide, and because in my opinion, they have all the answers inside of them.
Yes.
And and I think that's what we all do, really. We know that they have the answers, and they don't realize it. And when they do, they go, oh, right. I came up with that. Yes. And isn't that a wonderful thing?
It's the best, because it resonates, and they made, like, it's just, that's the kind of answer that I just think is like unforgettable. And that's, I think, why I was kind of resistant when I was first experiencing a lot of scripted hypnosis. I felt like I was being told what to do. And I just think when it comes from within, it's like, oh, you can't really resist that. Like, that is like, oh, that makes sense, Yeah.
No, and a future pace on one of mine, and they come out with they see their future themselves, and they have a conversation, and I just write it all down, what they're saying, what's the future self telling you, right? Okay. And it's like, I did that. Yeah, you did. Yeah. That's so good. So it's so cool. Got to love what we do. The whole, all of us. We I love it. So and thank you for being you and for coming on here today. I really appreciate it.
This was awesome. Thank you, Claudia.
So we'll have your links in the comments so that people can get in touch with you. And so thank you for watching, everybody. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from
Désirée.
Okay, so take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.